I think it's time for a women's mid-card title. And I think now is more important than ever. Now is the best time to do it within WWE. And that is because Triple H has strengthened the women's roster. And I don't mean that everybody is now world title caliber, but I mean there is a lot of good contenders now, which some would say in the future could be a world title. But the problem is they don't have a stepping stone to get to the world title. That's a big problem. And I think a women's title then provides a stepping stone to that world title. I think now, with all these people that Triple H has brought in, and I know these have been here for a while now, but you think of the likes Chelsea Green, Mia Yim, Tegan Knox, Candice LeRae, all these different people. I'm talking about the lower card ones. I think they could have a run with mid-card titles. Then, of course, you look at the likes of Nia Jax, Naomi, Tiffany Stratton, if you want to get something around her waist now already. You look at the likes of Liv Morgan, who in between time of not going for world titles can hold a mid-card title. And I think Liv Morgan is one we can really focus on, because Liv Morgan obviously was a world champion, but it felt like she needed time as a champion. It felt like she needed practice as a champion. And I think that's where a mid-card title could come in handy. You give her a mid-card title, there's a whole lot less pressure. No fans will boo her. She won't need to beat everybody like Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler. She would have to beat other mid-card talents at that point. And then thereafter, she can then go for world titles now with having that practice, having proved herself as a champion and actually had convincing wins for a while. I think a women's mid-card title could really benefit a lot of people in the roster. And you even think of the likes of Natalya. You think of the likes of some of the NXT women coming up. Roxanne Perez that could eventually take a slot there. There's a lot of people that deserve a mid-card title. And I think the mid-card title will serve a better purpose than the tag titles. And I say this because the tag titles need a combination of two teams to make a match work, of which we barely have one team in the Kabuki Warriors, and then we obviously got Kaden Carter and Katana Chance. Thereafter, no real other tag teams. So the other tag team is often a makeshift team of some sort, like Chelsea Green and Piper Niven. They eventually became a team, but they're a makeshift team of some sort. And I think that is a big problem. I think having a makeshift team and having a real team, the chemistry is not always there and the shine is not always on you. Whereas it's a mid-card title, it's you yourself, what you've worked hard for. In other words, Liv Morgan, for example, and then like Naomi who's worked hard, or like a Tiffany Stratton who's worked hard to get where she is, have a match. The chemistry will be there. There'll be a reason to fight. It'll just make a lot more sense. You're not relying on 4 or 3 other people within a match to make it feel important. So I think a mid-card title can be super beneficial to WWE. And my opinion, you put it on Raw. You put it on Raw, you replace the tag titles. Be gone. We don't need those tag titles. As important as it is to make women's wrestling similar to men's wrestling and make it kind of homogenous, is that the word? Equal, not have any big discrepancies between the two. You got to have similar titles. But I think in this situation, it just does not work right now. And especially when they scrapped the NXT ones, as much as NXT were struggling, at least what they were doing was creating tag teams. And I think that is a problem that they scrapped those ones. I think it's a big problem. They were creating tag teams that could get pushed to the main roster as tag teams. Then you take that one away. Now you got no tag teams coming out of development. You've got to come up with new tag teams all on the main roster. Doesn't make sense. I'd rather have some tag teams coming out of development. Like, for example, Kaden Carter and Katana Chance. They were the perfect example of what coming out of that NXT division with the tag titles meant. They came through as tag champions. Now, what do you have? Nothing coming from NXT as tag teams. So with the main roster, at least you're not relying on making a whole new division with a mid-card title. So I think it's vital that they scrap those titles, unfortunately. Perhaps put them on NXT again, give NXT something to work with there. Give NXT something different to work with there. And then you put in a mid-card title on Raw, because Raw is 3 hours. Keep in mind that. And a SmackDown can carry on with the women's title that it's got. You don't need 2 women's titles on SmackDown, considering it's a 2-hour show. That's how I would personally book it. That's how I think WWE should book it. And I think there's a lot of talent. And I think these could end up being better matches than some of the world title matches, simply because it's new match types for something to actually fight with. Like, a match between Liv Morgan and Mia Yim could be a banger, but we won't see it. Bring a mid-card title in, and there's a reason to put that match on TV without just having random matches booked. Now you've got a reason. And the women just get more opportunity in that sense. And I think it's important. I think it's really important to bring in a mid-card title. I've probably said it 1,000 times, but I just think it'll really help the division as a whole. You know, I guess some of the downsides of it could be the fact that it gets treated like the women's tag team titles, which is obviously, it's a factor to take into account. WWE clearly don't always care about certain titles. The US title goes through stages. The Intercontinental title goes through stages. We could see the mid-card title go through stages. So that is one worry. But I do think there's enough talent for WWE to actually book this right. I don't see a reason for them not to book it right. You know what I'm saying? I see every reason for it to be booked right, not have issues, not be forgotten about because there's some top talent on your roster that aren't getting used. Indy Hartwell could hold that title, for example. I know I'm just listing off names, but I'm trying to create a picture for you guys to understand why a mid-card title could really work in WWE. And I think it's important for us to consider this fact and for us to try and push this agenda for WWE to realize this is what we want, or this is what I want personally. I don't know what you guys want. But with that being said, I think it would be really cool. I think it will add a new dynamic to the women's division, add a new dynamic to Raw, and help certain wrestlers get over with the title. I think about how the mid-card title has helped people in the past. I mean, simple, like someone like Randy Orton with the Intercontinental title. Someone like, I don't know, so many people out there. The Miz elevating the Intercontinental title at some stage. A lot of people, John Cena with the US title at one stage. A lot of people, I'm forgetting about so many, but a lot of people have made the step from an IC title or a US title to a world title. And I think that's exactly what this could provide. Anyways, guys, take care. We'll check you guys in the next video. Let me know what you think about this topic. Let me know if you think WWE should introduce a women's mid-card title. Anyways, guys, we'll see you next time. Take care. Peace.